Joyful Christian Hermit here. We're out in front. It's probably around 12:30, 1 o'clock. I was in bed for a long time. Don't even remember all the times I got up to switch ice pack. That seems to be part of the help. Using an ice pack all night or anytime I'm laying down. And I was just writing some messages and my left arm went numb. It started to get bad, painful. My upper left back is terrible. The spine, it's not just the left, but it's radiating out to the left. So ice packs and sleeping on a wedge where I'm sort of stiffly propped up, that's gonna help. Gotta keep going. I was thinking about transition, the word transition, and I looked it up. Of course, you know, practically one of the main definitions now of the word transition pops up right away is gender transitioning. And I thought, oh dear Lord, it's everything has gone to sex. Sex, gender, going against nature, taken over the word transition for that as its meaning, when of course I had more of a deeply spiritual meaning of change and of major life changing and transformational into another phase of life. And you dig around enough and you get to that definition. But that's one thing that's very important, I realize, is to learn to transition. I don't think necessarily when you're old. I think it's a trait we should learn early, and to help one another with transitions, to learn to transition, to be able to, as they used to say, turn on a dime or penny. Probably started out turn on a penny, turn on a dime. Then it became be able to be flexible. Here I am talking. Oh, when the physical therapist saw my spine, oh my goodness, he says, I didn't realize you were fused that much. I mean, half my back is just one long scar and fused. But we still must be flexible, even if our backbone's stiff, even if the pain is taking over. We've got to be flexible and be able to make a quick transition in life. And I think it has to do with remaining very detached, not in an unhealthy way, not in a way in relationships where we are stiff, fused, and not willing to change, not willing to love, despite the hurt we've had. Back to thinking of my elder daughter. Well, it's hard to get her off my mind. This time of year, her birthday's going to be in a week from today. And I thought of just all the wasted time, wasted beautiful time. Thought back to when she was about in 6th grade, and she would write on the computer. She found a program that she could write in. She chose Hebrew, thinking I wouldn't be able to see what she wrote. She wanted to have a secret. And it was all her anger and dislike of me written on our home computer, old type computer back then. Most families didn't even have one, but I had gotten one to work on my dissertation on, and for the kids to have an advantage. And it's actually having that computer early, before they even had them in the schools in California. It gave her that start. That was her intended career. Her gift was in computer. Her mind, a teacher said, she is gifted. When they got computers then in junior high, she was in a computer class. there's in Southern California, and the teacher pulled me aside, said she's got a gift. So, and she's done incredibly well with that career, and has mentioned to me in times that we did speak that she was felt very grateful and understood that it was a blessing. She didn't use that word. She doesn't use that type of word. She doesn't go for church or for God. She doesn't have an interest in that, but she loves nature. She loves birds. She's a very loving person. Her daughters are wonderful as far as I know. The younger one especially is very, and the older one too, but the younger one at least responds sometimes. And not in any depth, but she can't really. It's not her thing. But they've never not been taught to enjoy or to enjoy me. It's been a very negative thing from early on. But it is hard to love someone so much, and I think she does love, but has deep-rooted feelings that maybe she wasn't loved, or anger over the divorce years ago. Who knows what it is? But transition. I'm the one that needs to do the transition in this situation. And the same with gardening. The same with location. None of us knows. This is a good example. I don't know what's going on with my body and my spine. My brain, I didn't know, but I know now. It's from pain that's causing my memory issues. I feel very clear this morning. Could probably read a page and remember something of it, maybe. But transitioning is so important, to transition, and not in the trendy way now of people wanting to be some other gender, but I guess that definitely is a change, a shift, a transformation. But one definition I really liked, it was so positive, and it was of a change to something new. Something new. So I'm praying for a transition, such as with this eldest daughter, that it will lead to something new. And we never know. That's the thing. That's why sometimes, even though we have to move on, we have to transition. Sometimes it's best not to let others do things that aren't kind, and to keep being unkind. Sometimes we have to make a change, transform ourselves, and let them go. And like Jesus did with the rich young man, had to just let him walk away and hope that he would come back, and pray that he would come back. So we'll see. But to think of transitioning and transformation as entering into a beautiful new phase, truth, beauty, love, and goodness. I like those words, truth, beauty, and goodness. And of course I add love. Love is the main. If we had no other word, no other goal in life, it would be to love. That's what we're to learn to love in this life. And to love to learn to love. So today, the dogs and I are going to transform and transition this area. I've already added more soil to these pots. I do need to get more, I think I have 5 tomato plants. So I need 2 more cages, tomato cages. I used one for this gooseberry. I really pruned this down this year and we'll see if I get any berries. I haven't ever gotten berries, and it's supposed to be a gooseberry bush that does not need another, a male or female. This is supposed to be a morphodite, I guess. They used to call it morphodite, I think, when you had either or gender years ago. It became a naughty word to say, though, a rude word. I don't see anything wrong with that. It seems as good as binary or genderless or, excuse me, or transgender or something. Bisexual, morphodite. Maybe I'm saying don't have the right definition of it. I'm not going to have much in blueberries on these little ones that I pruned back that were ailing, but that one I will. I need to get my watering going. This is where I get all these water, deep root water, everything. Get these pots watered. There are 2 more pots down there I will use for tomato plants, and that will leave 2 left for I have spinach in one. I need to plant more spinach seeds if I have them, and I'll put in some other greens of some sort. I have different seeds that I'm going to use up. Oh no, I was going to put 2 tomato plants at the back of the house, just test to see how that location likes that. So I have 4 pots here to put seeds in of different vegetables and greens. I have chard. I know I have chard. And I didn't realize I had gotten a Guernsey cream. It's in front, but this one will also be, here, get untangled, baby. There. So that is going to be transitioned and transformed into something new, or at least different, positive, very positive to have growth. That's why gardening is so good, and no matter where I am, I will always have some form of gardening going, because gardening is the essence of transitioning season to season. We have, even if we just look outside, or if we lose our sight and remember, or if we never did have sight and someone describes how things change, a transition, and how positive it is. Even if, I'll go back here and show you the holly tree. Oh, I'll take this with me if I can grab all this stuff. This is oh, it's heavy. Better not. This is the Angel Falls, right there. I'll show you where I'm thinking of putting it. Or I could move that short little guy that is some kind of, I'll get back over here so you can see it better. This is some kind of Serbian spruce there, but it's not a pendula bruns, but it is growing, maybe a couple inches or so a year at most, but in all directions. So it's pretty, healthy, different, sort of like a pillar, a little column, a short stubby column. Or and those little branches sticking out, it looks like it's a huggy bear. It's a bear with many arms, reaching out, wanting to hug, because it's soft. That could go back to this other location, or Angel Falls. Angel Falls will be more narrow, maybe, than the other. This will get maybe a couple of feet wide at the base, or 3 feet at most at the base. But we'll go back here and I'll show you what I did. I'm glad that I did take out. Transition includes death sometimes, death and removal from this world, from the temporal. And with trees and plants, of course, they do not have the same kind of souls that we have. They do not have life eternal. But they have an essence. They can sense. They can feel. They emit. Here, puppies, let's go back here. They feel touch. They feel love. They respond to music, to beautiful music. they can sense anger and don't do well under that, and they're affected by light and wet. So I took it out. It was that and it had a very small root ball. It had never really taken root in here. So it was never going to make it. So I'm glad that I did it. But I have this spot here. I could put that, and I'm going to move it a little, maybe a foot back further. Do you think Angel falls here, have the weeper here, or should I put the stubby short thing here at Picea Omarica back in here? Or I could move Green Sparkler over here, and I could put Angel Falls back there coming up through, or I have another one I could put back there that eventually would come through. But this likes some shading, and why I have that there is to fill in, because I want to create a, see, when this loses its leaves, then there's their patio. And that's the difficult situation there. I do not want to be watched by a person who was watching me and then spoke to me. Well, he also exposed himself one time. I think he'd been drinking, but still called me over to that fence before I had all this planted here. You see why I plant? For protection from the world. But what he spoke to me when I had been out front helping and had been leaning over and helping his wife, who says she can't see, but then amazingly sometimes, I don't know, I'm not going to judge, maybe she can see sometimes and not other times, but it seems very strange. But she was using me, as it turned out, to do work for her when, Lord knows, I have plenty, but it was back when I was able to do more. I was happy to help her, thinking she couldn't really see. But he was inside watching me out the front windows. And then when she went in to take a shower, he came out and said the most obscene things about what he liked and what he was watching and what it reminded him of, etc., etc. And it was very disgusting. And I was horrified. So, you know, I never want to have to weed or do anything because I can't get down easily on my knees, and it's very graphic what he said to me. Very obscene, perverted. So, with his wife right inside taking a shower and me out there with him saying these icky things. So I went to the police and I got very scared and I realized I should have done something about him exposing, but they told me they would arrest him right then and there, go back and arrest him just from exposing but they said since I did not see him unzip, that he would just say that he forgot and left his fly open. But anyway, so then there's certain things, if you ever are sexually harassed, be you female or male, they say to announce to the person at some, make like 3 statements. 1, this is sexual harassment. 2, I do not want it. 3, if you ever do it again, I will take action. Or a statement, you don't have to say take action, it's do not ever have any interaction with me again. So that's what the detective told me to do, and I did then. And to the wife, what's wrong? I said, it's not you. I said, it's your husband. I said, I will never speak of it. You are never to, talk to me, and I'm sorry. No more interaction, no more communication. And every year, a couple of times, like in the spring and summer, I have to repeat that to her. They do not try to engage with other neighbors, just me. The detective said they have, and she enables him. This little thing I can move out in front. It's very slow growing, but I'm going to put a bright gold one there. And I'll either move Banshosho right down there on the other side of that rose, right behind the little, it's a little perennial there in front, little wispy thing. I'll show it to you. Or I'll put Goldilocks here. And I think I am going to go ahead and myself get out my reciprocating saw and cut this branch out here. Get that out of the way. Too much crud coming down all the time. And then I could have more sun here. This would like a little more sun, definitely. So that branch is going to come down. And right there, that's going down. I'll use my reciprocating saw. Be down in no time, under 5 minutes, maybe less. Get a nice long demolition blade on it. I have a long cord. Just put it up the house and bring the cord out here. So these are the plans, but that's what you do if you have a harassment problem. And if they continue or something, then you just go right back to the police. And I haven't had to do that. He knows. He tried at first. Let me explain. There was nothing to explain. They do that. Repeat offenders. They and the wife, he does this to other women. They all think it's funny. It's not funny. Waitresses think it's funny. No, they do not. They do not want men saying crude and vile and lascivious things to them. And neither does the old neighbor lady who lives alone, and they know it. That's what the detective said. They're just targeting me because I'm vulnerable here. And so there's one young woman down at the other end of the street, way down, and she's got a family. There's something quite not right. She keeps coming. The lady next door, she preys upon people and gets them feeling sorry for her, I think, like I had, thinking she couldn't see. And so that woman goes there, and she goes there when the man's there alone. She's much younger. She's probably 40 years old or 35. As children, I don't see her doing things with her children, but I thought, good, if that's how she wants, kind of people she wants to hang out with. And I never see her with her husband or her kids, the young woman. So it's, and then she keeps trying to get me back involved with them. I think the woman has said something. So she keeps trying. And I one time told her I am not to speak to them, and they're not to speak to me through the police. The police have said this. And I said, so stop, it's not going to happen. And I said, I'm not going to say why, but that's the situation. And I said, you do what you want. Of course, I don't care. They wouldn't do anything with her. She's got a husband and kids. But it's a perverted kind of situation. So I want to block there. And that the very narrow upright grower, the Angel Falls, won't provide a block right in there, but the trees do give a shield, and if I put that Angel Falls back over there, it will get wider. It won't be as big as that holly tree. Had the holly tree, rooted in, it must have been pot bound or something, because the soil's great there. And I don't want to get anything that will get too large, because that's not as critical right over in that corner to the right of that one tall Japanese maple. But a couple of narrow things, just enough to give a winter screen, but in the winter it's not such a problem. I'm not out there. But I want to make sure my bedroom windows are shielded, and just to have the effect of protection. Over here I did it just for balance, but I also had all those I thought, who knows when the neighbors sold the nice family with their kids. But I went ahead and did this side also because I thought, well, who knows? Just go ahead but I had left an opening over there, but it's closing up. That's why I'm going to take that. It's John Tar. That's this thuja. This thuja back here was very narrow, very wimpy, very unhealthy when I got it at I don't know, maybe I paid $20 for it or less. I got it 75% off. And I'm going to put string around that and tighten it up. Keep it more columnar so that there's an opening here for my neighbor to come through. And I suppose well, I'm not going to be here that much longer. I'm hoping maybe I'll make it to 75. So I'm going to get these strawberries out. Maybe not today. I'm going to try to keep my transformation reasonable, practical, go with the flow, doing a transformation and a transition in the pots today, and those pots there. Maybe I won't put the tomatoes there, but I'm thinking so because this is southern down here and not quite, it doesn't stay as hot sun as afternoon. I think the tomatoes will like the hot afternoon sun. And I'll put some greens down on this end, which will get more shaded, although with their pine tree out. But it was a sickly looking pine, but sure did dump the needles and the cones like my messy ones do. So I try to go over in their yard. I've got something to do, and I'm going to try to keep the mess from my tree up off their stones, because I just feel that's the responsible thing to do. Now see all those big maples over there, all their leaves used to just fly right over in here until I put the screen up. And I also reduced a lot of the willow tree mess that used to be a huge willow here and branches by putting my screen up. Trees will help screen, but like this, I've had to go through, especially in my conifers, and pick out all the needles that keep coming out of this old tree here. So, but I'm not going to cut this down yet because I don't have a replacement that's growing quickly. Planky down there is very, very slow growing. And I don't want to cause them added heat this summer. So I won't do that to them. Over here, the tree will not affect those things. And I don't do things to affect those things. I would never do anything to hurt or harm others. I just have to know to protect myself from creepies. I didn't need that. I didn't want it. That's what you're to say. This is sexual harassment. I do not want it. That's what the police say. Got to be very direct when someone does something to you like that. Make it very clear. Make your statement. Then, if they persist later on, keep trying, or say things, that's when they'll come and arrest. But you have to have and hopefully even record it if you can. But if not, they'll go by your word that you did indeed say that to them. But this tree over there, trying to decide how much damage that would do. I would get western sun over the top of that tree there, behind it, out there in the common area. But I don't think it's a problem. See, I need to paint up there still. So, and I only have weather up to 85 degrees to do it. So I need to at least get the back of this house finished painting. I need to paint the trim around those windows down there. I've done 2 coats here, 2 coats all along here, 2 coats on the underhang here. I think I'm going to paint my eaves troughs all one color and make it the anonymous color, I think, rather than just the plain brown. Or the brown sort of goes to the roof, but I may as well make it the anonymous color, have cohesion, and get that little strip up there painted. That'll be tricky for me, but I'll put my 8-foot ladder out here and stand up there and reach as far as I can up And then I have a harness and a rope, and I'll just slide myself down, holding onto the edge and paint underneath up there. And that's what I'll use along there. I can step out of there easily enough onto the roof. It's the slant, and then using your hands to paint with. I definitely need to be harnessed in, especially with my balance issues now. Oh, I found out it's the brain that has changed from pain, the alteration of the brain, that is what's affecting my balance. It's not my neck doing it. It's all the brain stuff from the pain. So it's good to have answers. I think that helps us transition better when we have facts as best as we can get them. And then remember to make the transition positive. And look back and just be so grateful for what we've had. I've had many transitions. It was a transition leaving the island. Because by then I had it all beautiful. I'd fixed up even the pole barn to the point I could have rented it out. But it could be my whole craft and garden area, my greenhouse. I could have taken things from my trees and grown, and all my vegetables were going well. The apple trees were producing. I had Braeburn apples. I've never had apple trees produce like that. I would go over to Tacoma to this place and get what's called Tagro. They used all their human waste from Tacoma, south of Seattle, and transformed it, transitioned it into a most marvelous natural fertilizer. And that, along with the 2 years that I had to use a bucket myself, my strawberries, all the garden produce, the blueberries, I had 44 blueberry bushes. I like holy numbers. 44 blueberry bushes that were huge and producing. I had fig trees producing, 2 fig trees. I had the 2 apple trees that just were going crazy. And all kinds of other vegetables, and then a huge strawberry patch. I built raised beds out of junk lumber that I'd taken out of the house, off the house too, out exterior type lumber, that I always reuse things. That's transitioning it and transforming what was into something usable, and it really made my farm area. It was a 30-foot by 90-foot area, and then the strawberries were about another 15 by maybe 40 feet of strawberries. And of course there were blackberries that just grew wild, but I didn't bother picking those. People just walk along the road and pick those and eat them, or put them in containers. But it was, see, that, and the house was all done. I'd put windows in out to the view. I raised up, I vaulted the ceiling. It had been a flat roof. It used to be an old porch or something that was flat. And that was inside then, but I had this guy come, and we put big joists up using joist hangers, and made a big vaulted ceiling. So that place was not only charming, I kept the exterior, all this 1904 Victorian farmhouse, created 2 bedrooms upstairs plus a 3/4 bath, made a landing so I could get the stairway going up, so you didn't have to bend down, and you could actually, oh, and I also, this is all from God. He gave me this idea to make a removable upper landing railing. So I had a railing that I could remove so people could get big furniture in around the corner of the upper landing, because it had sloped ceilings in this old farmhouse. Anyway, it's just amazing what transitioning can do and how positive it is. So who knows what's next for any of us? Just know that with God, and with the idea of positive transformation, it will all be very good and very marvelous, and the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. And think also what we do for others. I will continue. Some people maybe think, oh, just give up on this place and don't keep working on it. Don't bother, putting in my little paver pathways. I'm going to make it as beautiful as possible, no matter who lives here, because they'll enjoy it. Why not? And if they're not interested in trees, I'll come along and take some of these with me if I'm in a little town home that I can put a few things in a little tiny 10 by 18 foot yard. I'll make a screen across the back and look out the one window, and I'll find out if I can put more windows in across the back to have light. And I'll look out because I'm in bed so much, and I will be increasingly. So may as well have wind. That's what I did here. The 5 surgeries, I had the one that was a year recovery. All the time I had in bed, I could look out those windows and that full pane glass door. Say, oh, here, let's look at this. Well, you can see how mocha roses, the leaves just overnight are enlarging. But I'll stake this. Delphinium is the name of this. I kept trying to forget, but everything seems so different when my pain is down a little bit. I can think again a little bit. This is a delphinium. And those will get larger and larger, and they stay on for quite a while. Now come along, and the dogs and I can do this. We can cut together. I can leave on their leashes, and I use my right hand and cut down all the tulips and the narcissus are all spent, so time to cut them down. And this thing got burned. New leaves, the sun or something hit it. I would like to clean those out because clip them off, but that will be a lengthy job, and I probably have better use of time. So I'll just leave it and accept that that's going to be green and brown this summer, at least for a while. But transition. Oh, this over here is getting ready to bloom, and I remembered it's orris root. That's what this is. It looks, it's a type of iris, but it's called orris root. This particular orris root, and it's going to have iris type blooms on it. It is a type of iris, but it has the striped leaves, and eventually I'll have to make that smaller. I don't want things to overcrowd, just like this had got so full. I really pruned that out to make it open, so I want it to be open. I hope it'll do okay with all the pruning I did on it. It's a little bit excessive, but hope that it does well. These forget-me-nots are so pretty now. Aren't they pretty? And I'd had something else. It's this here. It's not that, and it has blue blooms too, but so much of it got old and died. So that's about what's left of it. And I hope next year it will thrive. Again, who knows? I'm on probably a week-by-week basis. I'll know more after the 16th. I have the MRIs on the 13th, and on the 16th I meet with the neurosurgeon himself officially. See, this dianthus, it'll all be these colors all over it when those bloom, but it's spreading. I like that. And then if I want, I can dig that up and put it someplace else, but I'm going to wait till it gets a little more mature. And of course, when it's nice and moist and early in the morning or in the evening. You really shouldn't plant in midday. Now this thing here, I think weeds are amazing. Now talk about transitioning, but also transforming. Weeds will transform themselves and look like a plant thereby. Doesn't this look similar? Yes, but it's not that. It's a weed. And I have found that even in grasses. Of course, crabgrass is an example of a weed that imitates grass, but others, well, I've noticed even clover. If clover is around, if it's growing and I've put bark mulch down, it will turn dark, like purplish brown instead of green. But because it camouflages itself. Weeds will camouflage. And that's a good thing to know when we are transitioning. Sometimes it's best to camouflage, to keep our transformation very subtle, very hidden, like I do with the neighbors on the one side. I have camouflaged, in a way, access to me, where it's sort of that, if you get the idea of and at times I I tried back and back with Bon Show. I was putting green conifer with a greenish blue conifer behind it. I was going to layer conifers just because the needles were so different, the tones were different, tone on tone. Anything we do in life can become artistry. Anything. And beauty. Part of truth, beauty, and goodness. Just remember those words, truth, beauty, and goodness. Jesus uses those in Scripture. And add love. Keep love as the umbrella. Love is the tree up on a standard. Love is the tree that's up on the standard, and it has umbrellas, other plants under it that are more tender and need shade. That can be sort of an image for our transforming and our making our transitions very positive. The transitions that come in life, and sometimes they come suddenly. Sometimes we know they're coming, but like me, thank God, the ice pack idea, Holy Spirit gave me the idea, just keep using ice packs, start at night, and just use them all night long. And that kept my shoulder and my back from erupting into such horrific pain that I was going nuts with it and unable to sleep and getting very, very dark and wanting just to be done, away from my body forever. So we can't. That's not a transition that's up to us. No, none of the transitions really are up to us when we think of it. In fact, I think if we force transitions, it often doesn't work out so well. So it's best for us to let God bring on the transitions, but we must be ready with our mindset and the truth, beauty, and goodness that we want to have from all. I have some slate tiles from we called it the castle. It was an old historic home in our hometown, and they were putting a new roof on, and they had all these slate tiles roof that they were throwing on the ground, and we could go get them, and I got some, and I would script on them, and either drill holes, or some of them already had little nail holes in them. Most of them had nail holes. So they're hangers. I can hang them. So I have one that is, what is it, Virgo Maria or something, Terra et Coeli, Virgin Mary of Heaven and Earth. And I think I'm going to hang that in here because this is the Virgin Mary courtyard. I've got her there holding baby Jesus. God bless you all. What a difference it makes to have just a little of my left arm's going numb here. I'm holding my phone with it, but I'll stop. But it's just a difference when you can see clearly and have an infusion of understanding of the beauty and love and goodness and truth of transitioning, of spiritual, mental, emotional, and even physical bodily transition. It's good. We must never think of it as a negative, or it will be then.